Yeah, that's right. So it's like that. I mean, you see it. What else needs to be said? And I could bust out much more. It's coming soon. So when it comes to these linguists, these linguinis, these so-called linguists, who are breaking down stuff, they are not digging into the origin of these words. They are pure Eurocentric westernized, and it's something that we have to deal with. If you're dealing with dating methodology, dating anything, you're using their work. You know, you cannot show me a dating methodology that was created by an Aboriginal or Aborigine from anywhere. You can't show me that. So there are certain things that we have to, really think about that was created in the 20th century. Okay, things that were created by them, not us. That's the focus. They created it. We didn't. They created a lot of things, and I find people trying to take credit for it. And there's too much confusion. So, you know, you saw what it is. If you look up these words, y'all are using Rosetta Thesaurus period, 1870s to 1910. That's what y'all using. That whole Noah Webster dictionary is a joke. The word Noah is Nowak. The word Nowak is Nowaga. Okay, Gawi Nowaga. Want me to show you Gawi Nowaga? Got it here too. Pay attention. So when you hear the phrase Washita being the original Washington, that is from this language. That is from Gawi Nowaga. Okay? No other language. All right? There is no other language. There's Gawi Nowaga, and the other languages are Gawi. Gawi. Okay? Those are what the original American languages sound like. And anything else is just a mix and pigeonized form of it. But when it comes to the original words, what are the original words? The mother tongue. I hear these linguini, so-called linguists, people who think they study stuff, and none of them have ever mentioned a mother tongue. None of them have, on any side, have really gave me a worthy challenge. And people will say, "Oh, that's because you were gatekeeping." And when I put out videos on my channel a long time ago, no, there are people who are gatekeeping, and that's the problem. There are people who are gatekeeping information, and when they find a way to capitalize off it, they try and release it with their own twist on it. And they don't ask the full story. Oregon is California. Uh, um, what's that next to Oregon? Iowa. I'm forgetting which one it is. I have to look on the map. Nevada, Arizona. That's all California. At one time, the real California stretched all the way into Alaska, all the way down into Central America. That was the real California, and it spread all the way to Nevada, Arizona, and going into Texas, y'all, New Mexico, and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like all that was considered this California region and area. And there's some research that needs to be dug into to find out exactly which ones were the original, because now we have the official four names. The official four names, y'all. Y'all pay attention to this. You got the Haratim, you got the Felahim, right? You got the Dulga, and you got the Kuli. These are the original four, and these are the four groups to look into that had the involvement in the way the world is today. Yeah, and trust me, you got some of that ancestry in you. Go back 10 generations, that's too many people. There's no way you can say you're from one single tribe or one single everything. It's ridiculous, y'all. Do the math, man. Come on, y'all. Go back 20 generations and tell me how many people that is, y'all. Tell me how many people that is, y'all. And tell me that you're from one single tribe. That makes all DNA tests fall obsolete. That's there's no way your 20 generations can match somebody else's 20 generations. Period. And that's what people don't understand about it. They might find some similarities in the genetic data of whatever they're gathering. If it's mucus, that's just genetic data connected that's excreting. That just means there's somebody excreting some genetic data out of their fucking mucus gland that matches this type of shit just because we're part of the same species. People don't get it. And I understand that and that's just the way it works because DNA testing is really based upon the same thing they do for medical issues dealing with respiratory viruses and stuff like that. Our PCR tests, you know what I'm saying? And that's what they're using for DNA testing. So it's like I have a major disagreement with DNA testing, but I know how they're really matching it up to people. It's just the genetic material is matching other people who have the same type of genetic material. You might want to look into what their diet is and all these things. But that's something that's, for later. The focus right here is that there's been information that's been put out, and it's always followed the Fellows of the Royal Society. And if it didn't follow the Fellows of the Royal Society, it followed the Royal Company, and the Royal Company is the AIU, and everything from the AIU after. That means all the banking, all the 13 bloodline families and that everyone knows about, and the stuff in the names that you don't know about. That's all in AIU. Tons of names that I don't hear anyone talk about. Starting in France. So you see that the Royal Society was in England and the Royal Company was in France. They give you a date of 1660 and 1550s or something like that for the Royal Company. All these little ridiculous dates, they go back to the so-called, I don't know, what do they call that one? Something about some flowers. Who knows? But they make up a lot of stuff. And they created these histories in the 19th century. The Royal Company and the Royal Society came together, formulated in the 19th century. All that stuff before, and even the stuff during, a lot of stuff needs to be challenged. So therefore, the only validatable information has been whatever my ancestry, my genealogy, my bloodline, my tree, leading back to all these 10 to 20 generations going, back, passed down information and knowledge. So it's like it can be, well, your ancestors didn't know about that certain information and knowledge. And I can accept that. But then when we all start digging into our, ancestry and see that none of our stuff is matching with anything during the Revolution War period to Civil War, you'll find that the information about the so-called Civil War stuff is not really giving any real, details. They're not really giving you details to too much of anything. But when it comes to that Revolutionary War, it's just it's confusion, and there's whole parades done every year and to represent this stuff, and it's all fake. And for me to see that everything after the Reconstruction period was stuff that was created for the way that whoever took over, the inheritors or whatever name you want to give them, that took control and did what they did. Only way that you would know those stories if you had ancestors who were a part of building. So it's like when people say, "Oh, our ancestors were doing all that," no, show and prove. Give me an ancestor that you have in history that actually built things. You know, that actually did something. That are actually from America. You know, and or from whatever. Because I've been digging into this stuff, and I've been finding a lot of interesting information connected to these very languages that I'm talking about. So there's stuff that needs to be looked into. The Haritan needs to be looked into. Like what the hell is going on with this? The Haritan, the Fellahin, and I done caught everybody off guard with the Fellahin. They don't even know anything about the Fellahin. No, they don't. So you got the Haritan and the Fellahin, okay? And then you got the Dogla and the Coolie. So these are 4 groups involved in things that we call slavery. I got that work for y'all. Got that work for y'all. You know, I've been sitting on a lot of information, y'all. Yeah. Oh, and Loot Echelon coming too. So about to catch everyone off guard. Yeah, that's right. Again, if you are originally from America, the name that we should be saying, I'm telling you, for ourselves, the name that we should be saying is upon whichever way you want to pronounce the end. Rather, you want to pronounce it as G, okay? Rather, you want to pronounce it as she, like with an X and an I. Or if you want to just pronounce it like she, okay? And for the word family in the same language, it's YG, why she, okay? All right, Washita, that's from this language. So when it comes to those who are actually from America and have been labeled as African American, in this language, you can't find it in any other language. You can't find it in any Cherokee language, any Hopi language, any Choctaw language, any Muskogee language, any language you could think of from the 5 civilized tribes, from any other language. You can't find any language that actually gives a description of what is now called an African American, but in this language. Okay? Heroji. Okay? That's how you say it. It's Heroji. And for a group, it's Hadíroji. Okay? It's not complicated. Y'all been saying a whole lot of names. Y'all say a whole lot of names for what the land is, and nobody's giving exact languages. So I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this right now. When I say these words, it's like you have to say which one. Is it coming from the Haritan? Is it coming from the Fellahin? Or is it coming from the Dogla or the Coolie? Okay? Now, the missing element is the people who are from here. So when it comes to the language that I'm using, is it from the people who are actually from here? Or is it from the people who out of those 4 groups? And that's what's going down. And it's very interesting what I'm finding in the 4 groups. I'm finding that the one that we call the Moors ain't even tied into the Haritan or the Fellahin. I'm finding out the ones who we're calling Moors are actually tied into the Coolie. Yeah. That's what I've been finding. That's what I've been finding. Yeah. And the Douglas situation is wild. It's wild. But the Haritan and the Fellahin, I get it now. See, the Haritan and the Fellahin and the mixing of those are the ones we've been calling Siberians, Sicilians, Slavs. Those are descendants. And I got a whole back story on that that's not even in English. Thanks to Hago Salamayahu and other people who are from Ethiopia, breaking down a lot of the information in history. That all the history that you're seeing was really Ethiopians over there. So dealing with the Haritan and the Fellahin, you're not going to get the right information if you don't get it exactly from the Tamazight, if you get it directly from Beja, if you get it directly from Oromo or whatever these groups are, and you get the story of the people who are actually from those areas, who can tell you the story of them coming in and them causing problems and them dealing with them today. Same thing in America. All 4 groups are now in America. And that's the problem. These four groups, the Haratin, the Fellahin, right? The Cooley and the Dogla, these four groups who are in America is the one that's been clashing all this time. There was a period of time when it wasn't all four, that it was just two in here, 100 to 120 years ago, right? And then you had the ones that were already here, okay? What is the language of those who are already here, and what's going on and who was mixing with who? And the story gets deep. So it's like if you don't have an ancestor that you can go back, like I have an ancestor and the name is Yokum. Like if y'all got any answer with a last name like that, talk to me. My ancestor Reed, and it's like digging into what Reed, the name Reed really comes from. You know what I'm saying? And they came together. Those two came together and mixed and made my mother's mother. So when it comes to this, um, and breaking down all the different mixing and getting an understanding of it, and it gets very interesting. But actually having the history and knowledge, the language that comes from those specific bloodlines, the culture that comes from those specific bloodlines, now we're talking. And I'm hearing that some type of cultural amnesia happen in the world. And that's why people don't know the story. It's because people are lying. Yeah. Some people are Haratin, some people are Fellahin. And those are the Haratin and the Fellahin are the people that have been coming over here in the last 100 years. The Igbos, the Yorubas, or whoever coming over here from Africa, and rather they're really from over here or from somewhere else and went into Africa. But I mean that they came from that part over here in the 1900s, in the 20th century. Okay? People that we've seen and we know, like they're first generation and second generations now into America. You know what I'm saying? So we have a lot of Ethiopians in America. You can look into when a lot of Ethiopians started coming here. See, these are Haratin and Fellahin. And that's the real names for it. Dealing with the people who are sellouts that come from Africa that people are calling tethered, those are Haratin, West Africans. All of them. And that's what I call them. Those are the ones that sell out, that do something and doing something over there, and whatever's going on over there, I'm not going to talk about it. Or even what's over here like that, not talking about that either. It's just that the facts are the facts, that people coming over here from over there are westernized, easternized, they're either Muslim or they're Christian. They're not following the original tradition of those specific set tribes that they say they're from. And, on both sides, you got a lot of Orthodox Tawahedos from Ethiopia. You got, you got some wild stuff. It is what it is. You know, and that's the Fellahin, and anyone connected to them is Fellahin, and the Haratin, and the ones that are Dogla and Cooley. Yeah, that's the ones like your Tamil, your Dravidians, your Pacific Islander type of groups going on along the coasts up to California. Those groups. And this is a big release of information for many of those that don't understand what I just did and what I just gave the world right now, which I know they don't have and don't understand, can't really grasp it. This is the situation going on in the last 200 years. That's why the last 200 years is far greater than all the fairy tales they made up of everything before the last 200 years. 1860 mud floods. People building with stone, people building with wood, people running into petrified remains, building things out of petrified remains, teaching how to do that, right? What about all the other things that were going on? There's no one in the community that brought forth a book called A Small Nation of People, showing and proving. There's no one else. You know what I'm saying? So these are the things. It's like y'all can continue to follow all these people who are saying all these false linguistic stuff of Algonquin and all that stuff, or even the stuff they say about the Iroquois and the 5 civilized tribes and all these different things. Y'all can keep on pushing these lies, because everybody's about to get it. For real, everybody's about to get it. That's why I'm doing this live stream. It's not about having an ego. It's not about being number one. It's about the truth. And that's what's going on in this year, 2024. The truth needs to come out. All them goofy ass names that y'all been saying, to call yourself, there's only one name that we should call ourselves, and that's Heroji, okay? Heroshi, okay? Okay? And in that language, relatives is washi, connected to like washita. Yeah. And they try and tell you it's a different language connected to somewhere else, and they say Omniki and Ani Shinabi and all this stuff, but it's really pigeon forms of the original. And I give the original. They twisted up and got you pronouncing Hadíroxi all crazy, Hadíroji. So when it comes to Kwaji, like I showed you on the paper, for what they would say would be relatives, family, or so on to say, and you see that the word for the English language is right there. Like I got the original name of the English language. Okay? All right. And see, they thought it would be the N and G, nah, it's the Ganfra. Ganyaro. Ganyaro Olka. Rolka. And y'all don't understand me, goddammit. So basically, it is what it is. You see for the word Aboriginal, that's really a breakdown from Bagawiye to Badawiye, from that language over there, connected to what would be called Fellahi. Okay? All right. So, what's going on there? Y'all tell me. What's going on with these other connections to words like God, words like Sabbath, words like El? Why? How come it's falling all under these languages? It's falling under Fellahin. It's not falling under Heriting. Because then it's going to have some Fulani, Hausa, Igbo, one of those so-called West African tribes, Akan or something like that, Dogon or Senegalese, whatever they call, the Haritan, the Hardana. You know, this is what it is. And I'm using that because these names are becoming popular and no one's catching on to this. So there's an original line from America. Yeah, there's an original line from America that's not none of these four. I know who they are because they have certain information. And I don't hear anyone else, the so-called big name, anything, dropping information like them at all. And I came across their information in the last about 5 to 6 years. I just been sitting on it, not saying nothing to nobody. And I just sit and I watch. So now it's time. Truth got to come out, man. Stop misleading the people, and the problem will stop. Stop misleading people with that false ass pale face information. I'm out.